Paul Nicholas has worked as an actor in straight plays, appeared in television sitcoms, and has been a chart-topping pop singer. But it is perhaps as a star of West End musicals that he is best known. I was curious to know how he got started.
As a rock and roll piano player for Screaming Lord Sutch,
Right.
I was one of his savages, which meant that was the nearest I got to drama school, which was actually putting on a leopard skin and playing his stooges for his big song, which was Jack the Ripper. And I used to play the victims, and he used to stab me and pull out rubber hearts and rubber lungs, and he occasionally went a bit far and went to the butchers and got sort of dogs' hearts and pigs' hearts and things.
Mm.
And I said, I think you're messing up my dresses. So he stopped doing that. And I found that one of the reasons I enjoyed being with his band as opposed to an ordinary band where you just sung and played the piano was that sense of an act, however limited
how old
it was.
were you then?
About 17, 18. So I got a taste of that.
But how did that come about? How did you get in?
Because I'd been in local bands, ordinary local bands where you were a cover band and you'd play Cliff and the Shadows or Elvis and all those things. And then I saw Sutch, and a friend of mine got into his band, and I said I'd really like to be in that band because of the theatricality of it. Was when Sutch played, he was a named act. They used to group round the front of the stage and watch the act. You didn't dance to Sutch. And in those days, Screaming Lord Sutch, I mean, in the like 61 or whatever it was, 62, 60, was going out for about £150 a night, which was a lot of money.
Was a lot.
And he was paying us a £5 a night, which, you know, it doesn't seem a lot, but to us then
that was okay.
It was pretty good, £35 a week. So I enjoyed that, and basically what happened thereafter is I then got to about the age of about 20, having left him and done other things. And in those days, if you hadn't made it as a pop singer by the time you were 20, because it was never considered particularly
it wasn't a real job. Yeah.
A real job, you were too old, really. So I got a job in a music publisher when I was about 21. Finished all the rock and roll by then, and really hated it. And then, fortunately for me, Hair came along, the show Hair, which basically were looking for kids off the street who could sing, and I thereby qualified. And then I started to do that show and realised...
You just auditioned off the street for that, did you?
Yeah, and realised that that it was something that I enjoyed doing and something I could do, which was that combination, because singing for me was never really enough. Do you know what I mean? I don't sing that well enough to, it's not enough. So the combination of singing and a bit of acting and performing in a theatre was something that I thought I could probably do and earn a living at. And that's what I've done ever since.
But when you were that age, when you were 16, 17, 18, whatever, were your ambitions to be, what, Mick Jagger or Laurence Olivier?
I think probably not Laurence Olivier, because I wasn't entirely sure who he was, although my old man was a show business lawyer, so I did have a flavour of growing up around people like John Osborne, who he represented, and people like
How
that.
much contact did you have with your father's clients? Any at all? Were they any help to you?
Well, as I say, I used to go and see the Crazy Gang at the Victoria Palace. He used to
But didn't he do The Who and things
yeah,
like that?
he did The Who and people like that. But I didn't really meet them. I did meet the odd person like Osborne and the odd film director and those kind of people. But so I was more interested in films like Singing in the Rain than I would have been necessarily in... I mean, I liked Elvis Presley, but... So I guess it was 50-50 in a way.
But the music, you've done a lot of musical stuff. Is the music important to you still?
Well, I think if you are a performer and you have a facility to be able to sing a bit, and because work is always, hard to find for any artist, if you can have more than one string to your bow, it's probably as well to have it. Because if one area dries up, you can go to another. The downside of that is that people aren't quite sure what you do. And the other side of that is that people don't really take people in musicals very seriously.
They're not real
like
actors,
it's like it's easy, which is absolute bollocks.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. It's hard, much harder work, but it doesn't have this act with a capital A, does it?
No, but I think the problem is that most artists can do more than they're allowed to do. It's the truth. You know, I've worked with artists who can be very good in a musical environment, but can also be very good in another environment. I mean, I had a big hit with Just Good Friends, which was a comedy show. If people had been looking at me seriously and not giving me a chance, most people, I'd been a pop singer for a while in the 70s. Why would they have necessarily thought of me? It was only that because John Sullivan, who wrote that show, saw me in a little play I did with Judy Cornwell on television, that made him transcend his prejudice that people have, and I got the audition and thereby got the part.
So I mean, have you felt, or would you feel more at home in musical theatre than straight theatre?
It depends what it is.
Or is it all much the same to you?
I think it's all much the same, really.
I mean, do you enjoy touring? Did you ever, when you were a singer, when you had your hit records, did you ever tour to maybe shows?
No, never did anything when I had the hit records. Because I wasn't that interested in it. What I was interested in was having a hit record. I wasn't interested in touring, singing pop songs.
So how did you enjoy your hit records if you didn't go out to get
I enjoyed the process of making them, and I enjoyed the promotion of them on television and stuff, and actually seeing the thing go in the charts. But I wasn't interested in going out as...
Did you never perform on stage as a singer? I mean, as a pop singer?
No, never. I did TV shows and a couple of live ones, but I never went out as Paul Nicholas, the singer. Well, it's a bit like touring in a musical, though, having said that, but or touring in the play. The difference is that I would rather do something that was a little bit more interesting than stand there singing Dancing with the Captain every night.
Except that it's not quite the same, because with a pop band you're doing a one-night stand. You drive in town, you set up, you drive out.
Yeah.
At least you can see a nice town. You're with a group of people that you know. It's not
doing the thing.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's and it's a little bit more interesting in terms of the work. But I wouldn't want to go out there and sing those kind of songs.
So if I asked you now, looking back, would you rather have been Mick Jagger or Laurence Olivier? Then it would have been Laurence Olivier.
No, I think I'd rather have been Gene Kelly, to be honest with you.